All right, so let's get him on.
Thought about that.
Joining us, there we go, live on the stream. We got the one, the only Rome. Good morning, brother.
Good morning. How's it going, guys?
Good, dude. It's good to see you again. Thank you for joining us on the stream too. Where are we at? Like, what room are you in right now that you're joining us from?
My daughter's closet.
Hey, sometimes that's what you gotta do.
It's like a really small closet.
Let me see this.
But yeah, it's the only space I have. I have 3 kids, man. If I could take over everything.
Right. Yeah. I bet, dude. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a nice setup though that you have there. And,
hey, works for me.
Yeah. And you're constantly, this is basically your lab then where you're cooking up tunes.
This is where I make everything. Everything you've ever heard or seen from me is pretty much made.
Yeah. So every new song from Rome, you're coming out of the closet.
Pretty much. Yeah.
He's like under the stairs like Harry Potter. Like
yeah, dude, I know. I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, one of these days, I'm going to make that studio that I want to make. And she's like, just do it.
Well, what's the acoustic
I don't like working with contractors, man. It takes too long. It's too expensive. But I have this garage that I've been meaning to turn into like a thing. Now that I'm like getting more into like video content, I'm kind of excited.
Yeah. Have you been editing your videos yourself too? I've been noticing that on social media. You've been
I got help from my brother. He's always done my stuff though. God bless him. But I edit a lot of them. But you know, like when I'm in a pinch and stuff, I'll send him over to my bro, and you know, because he kind of runs my social media with me in tandem. I mean, no one can just run social media now. You could tell when someone does that. But yeah, you know, I'm just because I like to put out a lot of content, and you know, I need help. Like if I want to be like a good husband and a good dad and also a good content guy, I gotta like I need some fucking help, you know. So.
Yeah, dude, it is more than just a full-time job. You're juggling multiple full-time jobs. Yeah, so there's not enough hours in a day.
Dude, when you get to do what you love, you can't complain about that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I want to complain about how hard I have to work to do this, then I should just get a job, like, you know, for someone else, which is no slight. That's all good. Because for real, sometimes I'm like, God, it would just be cool to just hang out on Saturday and Sunday, hang my shit up and be like, I ain't working. Don't hit the phone, you know?
Yeah.
But that's not what it is, you know, being a creative, doing what you love.
Right, yeah, and then you gotta like squeeze in tour schedules there too, and with 3 kids, I mean, I get it, and you're still, I mean, you're doing not only a Sublime and Rome tours, which we're gonna see you on April 26th here at Pima County Fair, which we're excited about, but you also tour with Duddy. The last time you were in town, I think, was the acoustic show that you did with Duddy from the Dirty Heads. Yeah, so you still put together and work on that, and yeah. So, what is your calendar year looking like? And tell me what the deal is with Sublime and Rome, because look, you've been Sublime and Rome longer than Sublime was Sublime, you know, and you guys put out a lot of songs. I mean, that's just facts, dude. It's been over a decade that you guys, that as a brand in front of thousands of people, millions at this point, right? So
pretty wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, at what point are you just going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to not do that anymore, right? Because it is a part of your DNA at this point.
Oh, dude, that was honestly a really big deciding. That was like the other 50% of the equation was already just like fighting for time and knowing that creatively what I want to achieve would require a lot more of energy and effort from me. But I already have, you know, spent everything that I can without having to pull from something else from a personal level. So, you know, given some of the issues that Eric was going through last year, it was kind of evident like this was probably the last year. 2024 was the last year that I'd be performing with Sublime with Rome. And I'd let everyone know that in September. And that was like, exactly what you're saying. Like, that's exactly why it was drawing from just all these things that I wanted to do and all these things that I had on my plate. And I was like, I feel like we have achieved what we've sought out to achieve with Sublime with Rome. And, you know, for personal reasons, having to exit that environment and have a shift in my environment that was, I was so largely a part of. It was important for me to be able to make that transition in my life. And yeah, I had to make that choice. And that's where, that's where the conversation of leaving Sublime with Rome at the end of 2024, that was, where it stemmed from, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And initially when it was announced, they said it was kind of going to wrap up shortly, but you had like a lot of shows kind of booked and already engaged in, like before any announcements of like separating. So you planning on touring through the entire year to the end of 2024 at Sublime with Rome, and then calling it a day for the foreseeable future and just see what happens?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, that was the plan then. And I mean, we were supposed to stick to the plan, all of us, but
yeah,
things change.
Yeah,
And,
it got confusing.
I understand, everyone lives their own life. And, for me, that's the only disappointing side of that is that Eric didn't want to partake in the farewell run. Because a lot of this stuff, man, I mean, I don't know if you know about the industry, but it's like, you got to get these buses and book these venues a year in advance. Because it's just not like, hey, we got the next Wednesday open next month.
Right. It's not a local show.
You got any buses laying around? Like, it don't work like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Lots of people are working to make all these little details happen for this concert and get the vendors all lined up. And not to mention, like, fans bought tickets to some of this stuff. So it's just like,
yeah,
we've already been promoting. So it's like, I couldn't have just ended,
yeah.
Like, I'm out. I'm going to go focus on my stuff. Like, that's not how I move. I have commitments to the people who have made my life,
Yeah.
Heck, we had we had commitments to the legacy, the people who employ me, Sublime. So, everyone has to, eat. So, I understood that, I was going to be respectful and put in my 2 weeks. But
you just can't walk away from them. This is what I see for you, Rom, and I think you have every right to do that. So, obviously, you continue to create, continue to write, continue to do what you do as a songwriter and artist to fulfill all those needs. And then whenever you want to put together your Sublime with Rome show and take it to the road, like, it is as advertised. Now enough people have seen it time and time again to know that it's a fantastic show. And there's acts out there that, like Badfish, that are strictly Sublime cover, and you're not even that. You're Sublime with Rome. You'll throw in the hit. They're a great band.
This is awesome, and honestly, I will get one thing straight. After the last Sublime with Rome show, there will never be another Sublime with Rome show.
You're saying that now, but I think, years down the road.
No. And that's because of, I like to think that Sublime now will exist as Brad, Bud, and Jacob, or as Eric, Bud, and Jacob, because that's where the story goes now.
It is a beautiful story.
It's a beautiful story, and I do believe that it's Jacob's birthright to be singing his father's songs if he so wants to. But it's also my time to put in the energy and the focus on what I've been building. And I mean, obviously, never say never, right? Anything's possible. But
right,
just from me personally, I will always be proud of what we've done together, the music we've written, still, like, even at my solo shows, I'd love to be able to play a Sublime song or two, and then or Sublime with Rome one in there as well. But
because it's obviously an influence that you've had consistently throughout your life. You grew up in that area, and that's why you were dubbed. I don't see it as tarnishing a legacy or even disrespectful, depending on, like, how it's laid out in the future. But I do get, also you wanting to step aside to let Jacob carry the mantle for his dad, and it's his birthright. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And, Sublime is Brad, Bud, and Eric.
Yeah.
So, and now that Bradley's gone, so rest in peace. Sublime is Bud and Eric. So, like, trust me, like, if I could wave a magic wand, all these Sublime and Rome shows this rest of the year will just be called Rome, because in my opinion, Sublime is not on that stage. However, I have, you know, obligations, contractual obligations to perform under this name. And, you know, Eric didn't want to be a part of it. So unfortunately, the name has to be stuck, but you know, we're gonna play the shit out of those songs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fortunate. I would say this though, you know, it's still carrying the torch and the legacy, and you know, a Sublime with Rome show is as advertised. You know, you have all this great music, and then there's going to be you know, some legacy songs from Sublime. There's going to be some Sublime with Rome songs all in there, and you just know it's going to be a good show because it's always a good show. Is there bad blood between you and Eric, or you guys squash that? Are you guys good?
You know what, man? I have no bad blood with anybody, to be honest with you, because that shit just, I like sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I grew up with a pretty rough childhood, and forgiveness was a big thing in my life. You know, forget all this rock and roll stuff. I'm talking about real life, personal, mom, dad, real shit.
Yeah.
So that prepped me for this stuff.
Yeah.
And
So
this stuff, I'm like, this is child's play stuff. This is nothing. Money stuff? Oh, come on. You know, I play for keeps.
Yeah.
I play for real. And how can I have any ill will towards the person who has helped make my life what it is today?
Yeah, help build the house.
I've loved Sublime dearly as a child, growing up listening to the music. And I have tremendous amount of respect for Eric putting this band together and putting me as a singer, introducing me to Bud, championing this whole thing. The only part where I feel a little hurt, a little disappointed, is in the not participating in what we agreed on participating in for 2024. And like, I don't even care about finding out about Brad or about, you know, Jakob and Bud and Eric, like putting the band together online. I don't care about that shit. It's rock and roll stuff. That happens all the time.
Right.
You know, my thing is just like, I wish for the sake of the fans and for the story that we could have just done something so special. You know, like, I don't know, I got this like movie thing in my head where it's like the last concert, you know, I passed the mic to like Jakob and Bud comes on and we're like, ladies and gentlemen, Sublime, you know, like,
yeah,
it would just be sick, you know, from a
like that nice little bow on it.
Yeah, dude, I would love to see that from a fan's perspective. Like, they don't need to pit sides and divide the band. I never wanted to be in that band. Like, we don't need none of that stuff.
Right.
Like, Sublime is a beautiful thing. It makes, like, it's changed my life when I first heard the music, changed my life when I first started singing in the band. And I feel like a lot of people resent or like they connect with that sentiment of just, you know, how important the music is. And it's like the opposite of drama. And so I'm just a little let down with how they wanted to handle the situation and the transition. I thought that it just could have been a lot more respectful to the fans. But again, you know, everyone is entitled to their own actions and how they want to go about things. And you know, if you ever want to know, you just ask me. I'll tell you.
Yeah, and you've always been
Mm-hmm.
You've always been straight up and honest, you know, with the audience, with me, and I greatly appreciate that. I don't feel like, you know, in this story of Sublime, I don't feel this is the final act though. And, you know, time heals all wounds. So I would hope that, I think over time, there'd be a greater appreciation from, you know, that end as well, for what you were able to do during a time to pick up the torch and carry it, because there was a lot of time there. I mean, people forget when Bradley passed away, we weren't getting Sublime live. We didn't get to hear that experience. We didn't get to experience these songs because Sublime didn't necessarily tour on a national level when they actually hit. And so to be able to do that for the very first time, like Sublime with Rome was the first live Sublime experience for most of Sublime fans. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you're talking a whole generation. And so you did a service. You did a service to those fans. You're a part of that family. And, you know, families fight sometimes. Families fall out. But at the end of the day, they're still family. And I really hope that there is that kind of like end of the day, reconciling, and you bring it all together and make that super, like a super Sublime. You know what I mean? There's no reason for that not to be the case. So,
well, I like to think that, everyone's in good spirits, and, I in a perfect world, I like to think that Eric's taking this time and really getting his health in order and that mental clarity in order to be able to just perform his ass off for, with Jake and Bud, and it's the right thing. If Jakob wants to sing for his dad's band, I'm like, dude, go kill that shit. We talked on the phone a couple weeks ago, and we were just like going over everything, and I told him, I'm like, I got nothing but appreciation for your father and for the music he's created. It's been a huge thing in my life, and I think it's rad that you want to do your dad's songs justice and take them and step up and do it. So I think they're gonna be good. I think they're gonna kill it. I think everything's gonna be good, and I'd like to hopefully be invited to the show and check it out one day.
Oh, I know you will. In the meantime, you're going to be able to see Sublime of Rome live at the Pima County Fair on April 26th. We'll do a couple minutes overtime with Rome and then let him go on the podcast broadcast. You can join us youtube.com/Beef Vegan. Rome, I always appreciate you, brother. Stick around. We got a couple more minutes in it. Of course. Well, see you soon. I look forward to hanging out with you. All right, so that was a wrap on the FM side, which I hit the dump a couple times on you. So
okay, I wasn't sure. I was like, are we podcasting? Or are we?
That's all right.
Okay.
We get comfortable. We go a little bit of both. We go back and forth,
okay.
and
and a lot of our P1 listeners love it. Like, a cuss word slipped in. We're like, we know.
Yeah,
it's okay. Right. We need at least 14 people to complain to the FCC, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, they're homies.
Right.
Yeah, but I do appreciate you. Like taking the time and open it up with us, because I get it. In the meantime, I know that you're working on a lot of projects and stuff. So what can we look out for as far as music from you beyond the tour that you got going on right now?
Oh man, I'll be dropping some new music pretty much throughout the rest of the year. Probably starting in summer. I'm just like finishing up all this stuff that I've been working on. During the pandemic, it was like really the only time that Sublime with Rome had like stopped touring. So like I had all this time to like kind of just do me, which was weird because like usually when I'm off the road with Sublime, I'll spend some time with like family, and then I'll get back into like recording sessions with other artists. And produce and write for them. But as you guys know, like the pandemic, nobody was doing none of that shit. So it's like I was just at home, and I turned on the camera, started streaming, started connecting with fans. They started like asking me about solo music, and I was like, shit, I don't think I really have any. And then so I started putting together stuff, which is like what I just put out, Forever. And in that time I put together the Rome and Duddy album with Duddy, and it was just such a rad time for like me creatively to like start to just get outside of what I've been doing for a while, songwriting and producing for other artists, and then touring and writing for Sublime with Rome. And here this whole new thing came about where it was just about like me and like shit that I wanted to do. And man, it was just a lot of fun. So after this year, when everything started kind of going down, it was like, dude, this is like that sign where I'm like, I gotta like put my energy into this thing that I'm creating, because all signs are pointing towards that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've always been a massive talent from day one, so continue to get your music out there. That's 100% you is something that I know a lot of fans are going to be excited about, and I am one of those fans. So the content, the streaming and your social media has been fire, so keep that up, and keep doing that. And real quick before we let you go, what's a list of some of the artists that you worked on and produced, because it's always like a fascinating list of artists you're writing songs with and for.
Oh man, well man, it's been crazy. I've done records with like Jewel. I've done records with like Jennifer Lopez, Jason Derulo, Enrique Iglesias, Run DMC, Blues Traveler.
Which one has been like the most trippiest that you're like, I really never thought this would happen?
Yeah,
that you've worked with.
Probably Probably Jennifer Lopez, because I was at her house. Yeah, and it was like right during her divorce from Mark Anthony, so there was like boxes everywhere. We're like walking over boxes to get to the studio. And so it was just like, that was like a kind of like a, all right, I'm in this like super ritzy neighborhood, and I've never been there, and I was just like,
mega mansion.
Yeah,
mega mansion with divorced moving boxes.
Dude, I'm just like here to like write a song, and I'm just like, oh man, pinch yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Does she feed you while you're at her house? And then if so, what did she feed you?
Oh man, it's probably just like we just ordered something and the company credit card. We probably got some takeout or some shit.
Yeah. Well, it's awesome. Well, Pima County Fair is coming up here quickly. So we'll sneak backstage, say hi. I look forward to it.
Sure. You guys gotta come by.
Oh, we're definitely going to be there, dude. Oh, yeah. And we're going to be blazed. So it'll be a super awkward conversation because it'll be too high. But
I'm just going to laugh the entire time and pass out.
That's a good
one. Yeah, absolutely, dude. Well, congratulations on everything. Look forward to seeing you. I know that you got another interview, so I'm going to let you go. But we'll catch up soon. All right, brother?
All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Of course. Rome, everybody.
Later.
All right, that's all the time we have on this stream, as you know. So we're out of here. But thank you guys for watching. Drive safe, ride safe. And as always, rock local. Babuski.